Body's natural right here. It's the champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Okay, so over the past couple of days, I've been getting copied in on Twitter, to be precise, what must be Deontay Wilder fanatics. Okay, they've been uploading selfies, walking through the woods or a park or sat on a sofa, 10-second, 20-second, 30-second clips saying, breaking news, Deontay Wilder is now the WBC Mandatory. Deontay Wilder is going to get some form of cash payout from Tyson Fury. Now, I don't know if any of these guys are YouTubers, no idea whatsoever. If they are, I'm presuming that they're pretty new to it. But there's no source here. There's no nothing, because I've looked and I can't find anything. Now, firstly, for those of you who are copying me in, I don't know why you're copying me in. Maybe it's to make this kind of video, right? But I don't need to see it. And the conversation going backwards and forwards from the uploader to the different fans and this, that, and the other is getting a little bit silly, where I'm having to mute the conversation. So I don't get notifications for it anymore on all of them, to be honest with you. So please don't copy me in on any kind of that kind of trash, okay? Because for me, I want to deal with fact, not fantasy. And the reason why I say that is because the way that these guys are talking about is like it's fact. Well, where's the fact that Deontay Wilder is the WBC Mandatory? Where are you getting that from? Because I can't find anything. And I have quite a few different links and sources. I can't find anything for it because there's nothing there currently, okay? When it comes to the cash payout, again, the fact that I have, which you don't have, is the fact that I did an interview with Bob Arum and we spoke about the case, the mediation going on to arbitration between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And Bob Arum said there, Wilder has no leg to stand on. So again, where are you getting this number from? What is your source? Because again, if there is some kind of source, and a credible source, by the way, then why are the numbers ranging from 10 million all the way up to 32 million? Surely the source will have the factual figure, not a fantasy figure anywhere from 10 up to 32 million, okay? So there's the first alarm. But again, even on that video with Bob Arum, where we spoke about this, there's so many people saying Bob Arum is wrong. Okay, your ice cream truck driver or lorry driver, whatever it is that to you may be, and bless you for it, but what gives you the inside information that Bob Arum wouldn't have? So I don't understand. So why you're saying Bob Arum is lying, what, based on what? What, because you know better than Bob Arum? Bob Arum, who is involved, front line in this case. But you know better, yeah? No, you don't know better. It's just that you've been brainwashed by some of the Wilder fanatical uploaders. And this goes to the point where to be, especially nowadays, a Deontay Wilder fan, you have to be some kind of special moron. That's the truth of it. You have to be. Because of all the allegations and the things that Wilder's been saying is madness, absolute madness. And you're buying into it. The educational system has a lot to answer for. It really does. But the cash payout, according to Bob Arum, Wilder has no leg to stand on whatsoever. Now, we'll move into the WBC mandatory position. Now, again, there's been nothing to suggest that that is what's going to happen. Nothing whatsoever. So, again, where are they getting it from? Why is it that these people can upload, whether it be on Twitter or upload, whether it be on YouTube, without putting any kind of source to it? You should always put a source, or each and every time. Otherwise, it's just fake news. It's fake, which is against the rules and the policies here on YouTube. If you don't have a source and you're claiming something, then it's fake. It's called spamming, okay? Now, the source that I have for this particular subject, I've now seen after a couple of days, World Boxing News. They've put up about Deontay Wilder potentially becoming the WBC Mandatory. Again, even Boxing News, who are big Deontay Wilder supporters, they're saying that it's their belief, not fact, okay? It's their belief that Deontay Wilder could end up facing the winner of Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin in the rematch for the mandatory position. Now, that is a belief, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong to believe that that's what could happen, because it could genuinely happen. It could. We all know that Deontay Wilder is the mummy's boy for the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman, where Wilder, he's been wrapped up in cotton wool and bubble wrap for the longest time. He can get away with whatever he wants to get away with, and Mauricio Suleiman just smiles like a Cheshire cat at him. I don't know what it is. It's almost like Wilder had some kind of hold over him, like Wilder has some kind of secret over Mauricio Suleiman. I don't know what that is, but it's possible. It's very, very possible. Now, we know that Eddie Hearn is pushing for Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin to be installed as the official mandatory. Because currently, Dillian Whyte, now, he was the mandatory and the WBC interim world heavyweight champion. Again, for those of you who don't know about interim, means that currently Tyson Fury, WBC champion, if he was to vacate that belt or get stripped of that belt, currently the WBC interim champion will then be elevated to the full champion. So again, go back to the Wilder people who seem to think that if anything was to happen with Tyson Fury and the WBC belt, Wilder will become champion. That ain't going to happen. Currently, Povetkin will become the full WBC heavyweight champion of the world, or at least of WBC. Okay, that's what it is. So again, if you're going to do uploads, at least know a little bit about boxing, at least know a little bit about the politics when you're talking about the WBC or anything really. So, Dillian Whyte, he was the mandatory and the interim champion. Dillian Whyte lost to Povetkin, but Povetkin, while he became the interim champion, did not become the mandatory challenger. Why? Because WBC didn't authorize it at the time. Okay, so currently, the mandatory position is currently vacant. But should Dillian Whyte beat Povetkin in the rematch, or should Povetkin get another win over Dillian Whyte, the winner of that fight will become mandatory. Because Dillian Whyte, he's entitled to his shot at redemption to not only get the interim status back and get revenge, of course, but also to get back his mandatory position that he worked hard to get by beating lots of top-rated opponents. Something that Deontay Wilder's potential next opponent in Charles Martin has never done. Johan Duhaupas never done. Luis Ortiz never done. Dominic Brazil never done. Okay, but Dillian Whyte, he did. Like him or don't like him. That's the facts of it, okay? But while that could happen, while Eddie Hearn, Dillian Whyte, Povetkin, they could get the agreement with the WBC, which would be the fair thing to do, that the winner of that fight become not only the interim champion, but the mandatory challenger. So therefore, the winner of that fight is in line to fight the winner of Fury Joshua, correct? But it would not surprise me if Deontay Wilder, because he is number one in the rankings for the WBC right now. Again, they're getting confused between being number one in the WBC to being mandatory. Again, quite clearly, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're newbies into boxing. Look at the last couple of mandatories for the WBC. Tyson Fury was the last mandatory. He wasn't number one in the WBC. Dillian Whyte was. Bermane Stiverne and Dominic Brazil, they were both mandatories. Neither one of them was number one in the WBC. In fact, Dominic Brazil was number 7. Okay, so again, you're getting confused between them. Otherwise, Dillian Whyte, he would have been mandatory for the past 3 years, would he not? As he was number 1. But he wasn't. He became mandatory when he defeated Oscar Rivas, which is about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago now. So, again, let's just be honest about it. Now, if the WBC did order the winner of Whyte Povetkin 2 to take on Deontay Wilder, I don't really have a problem with it. I don't think boxing fans worldwide would have a problem with it. I really don't. Because it's a fight that Deontay Wilder, doesn't matter which one he fights, he has a history of ducking both of them. Dillian Whyte is being well catalogued. I've shown you all the receipts for it. One of them being that Deontay Wilder even sent Dillian Whyte a personal DM saying how I'm going to freeze you out for 2 years. And the WBC let him get away with this. Made every excuse in the book to not fight Dillian Whyte. Turned down several $1 million. Turned down numerous offers. Just didn't want to fight him. He has a history with Alexander Povetkin as well. Again, people get confused where Alexander Povetkin failed a PED test, which is why he didn't fight Deontay Wilder. Again, you are wrong on this one. You are wrong. Even the World Boxing News for this article is wrong. Povetkin has a black stamp on his name for PED failure against Bermane Stiverne, not Deontay Wilder. The Bermane Stiverne fight didn't happen because Povetkin failed a PED test. Now, when it comes to Wilder, yes, Povetkin had a finding in his sample, yes? And before the B sample was even drawn, Wilder said, I ain't fighting him. He jumped on a plane from Sheffield, because he's finishing up his camp here in the UK in Sheffield, and went all the way back to the United States of America. I ain't fighting him. I refuse to fight him. And as it turned out, Povetkin won the case against Wilder in that. He got a multi-million payout over it for slander and all this kind of stuff because it was proven that the test was contaminated. It was proven this. There was an issue with the lab. So again, don't get confused between Wilder and Povetkin as the reason that fight didn't happen was over a PD test. Well, you're kind of 10% right, but the reality is the fight should have went ahead. Because the sample that was found in Povetkin's system at that time was legal. It just became illegal to have it in your system at that particular point. But fighters were given a certain amount of time to cycle this substance, I forget what it was, out of their system. Povetkin was still within the limit. You can say, well, Povetkin, quite clearly, he was taking some kind of PDs. Yeah, he was. But they were legal ones. Okay? Legal, illegal. For me, they should all be illegal. Okay? But it is what it is. But that's the facts of it. So, either way, Wilder fighting Whyte and Povetkin, I really don't have an issue with it. For me, I think both Povetkin and Whyte beat Deontay Wilder. I don't have a problem with it. And if Wilder does get a win over Povetkin or Whyte, then yes, he deserves the mandatory position. He deserves it. But Wilder should not become mandatory for fighting, say, Charles Martin next. He shouldn't become mandatory for that. Where's Charles Martin ranked in the WBC? I don't have it in front of me, but isn't it like number 12 or something like that? But again, it wouldn't surprise me at all because, as I said, the history between Mr. Sullivan and Wilder is absolutely astonishing. And the fact that when they gave and awarded Dominic Brazil the WBC Mandatory, again, that was completely wrong. He defeated Eric Molina, who was only just in the top 15 of the WBC. In fact, Brazil wasn't ranked anywhere near there. Again, was he one about 8 or 7 or maybe 6? I don't know. It was around that kind of point. So, yes, WBC do have a history of just making up this stuff as they go along. It is what it is. But either way, there's no facts to any of it right now. None whatsoever. So these Wilder fanatics who want to run around, whether it be Twitter or here on YouTube, whatever it may be, where's your source? Where's your source? You don't have one, do you? You're making up stories. You're just making it up. For me, I think the mandatory position could become a reality, but the financial one, as of right now, again, according to Bob Arum, which that video will pop up in a second, there is no cash payout. Wilder's lost the case. But again, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Things change from day to day. Anyway, currently, that's what's going on. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.